Bonjour watcher, this is Joy Mega 45 and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode, breakdown is going to happen sooner and sooner and sooner. It's already 11th day. I was like, how you guys even survive? I cannot believe you guys can survive without them. Yeah, I know you guys lack on nutrition, but now, let's go with this. It can't be everyone. Everyone cannot survive. We have no choice but to abandon them and go by ourselves. Her tone of voice was surprisingly breezy, but somehow also exceptionally firm, as if the outcome was set in stone, as if she was merely repeating an established fact. Kazuki's internal calculations must establish something very close to a 100% possibility that more of us would die in this place. I repeatedly asked her about the details of her predictions, receiving only relations of the frustrated non-answer. If I told you the future I have predicted would change. When I finally told her that changing this future sounded like a pretty good idea to me, she couldn't believe it, even if it would mean none of us would survive it at all. And I found myself utterly lost of word for words. But maybe not uttered, there was still one old reliable that came to mind.
で
Don't look at me like that. I'm perfectly aware that I'm an idiot. You don't have to rub it in. Even now, Kazuki said the possibility of everyone's survival wasn't quite zero. By believing in those words, I could hold on to hope. If I had hope, I could find the strength to go on. Yeah, that's right. I had to be stronger than this. But it was hard. It was very hard. A full 2 days have been passed since Mr. Ochis left the camp. And as always, there was no sign of rescuers active nearby. Naturally, our teachers had to return either. Is Mr. Ochis lying there in a ditch somewhere? Yes. Mr. Ochi is dying. Okay, let's see here. This is Ritsu. This is Kaneda. This is Komori. This is Sakuma. And this is Ibuki. And also we have a stupid captain here and a dog. Come, let's eat the dog. They will attack the dog later. Maybe he's gotten to some safe place and just abandoned us here. What do we do if he never comes back? And we are floating on endlessly speculation. We pass the days waiting for help to arrive. They didn't come today, but they definitely come tomorrow. They didn't come today either, but they will probably come tomorrow. Mr. Ochi said he will get help no matter what when he left here. Not even half of the group really believed that. But even so, somewhere deep down, every one of us was clinging to that glimmer of hope. Maybe, he saved us all. That maybe grew feebly by the day, eroded by cruel reality. Even as we came to understand that waiting will only bring us a slow death, we clutched to that shade of hope. But it's speculation upon speculation. You guys are very pussy to go on. Why are you guys so pussy? Just go down the forest. Simple as that. We build excuses out of ourselves. We convince ourselves it was too early to decide. We stay here where we were and we waited for nothing. Nothing. Trapped in oblivious lethargy, we live for nothing but to avoid death. When our stomach growls, we chew on blades of death, and instead, when our thrusts were punched, we grow from the first spirit of the reward we saw. Eventually, it wasn't long before our stomachs turned violent against us. Somebody thought that chewy from our carcass might be infected with diarrhea. Within hours, our mouth was stained black. We searched and searched for any added device. As long as it was indigestible, we ate it. Everything. The rest of our time to spend lying in our sleeping bags, stroking our scrappy with sometimes we prepared to sleep. If we were lucky enough to fall unconscious, there was a brief respite from the pain. Next day. Wait, 25 day? What's that day now? Oh, the 12th day in the valley. Lately, I was waking every morning from dreams of food. Walking the forest, I got across a trailer car with rocket wheels. When I drove across and looked over the edge, there's a huge cardboard food for candy for just sitting inside. Not just food, but stay at the seat. There were dozens of cans in that box, briefly poised with soy sauce and ginger, markedly cooked in miso, even cabbages and pineapples. Untucking my shirt to make a pouch, I cautiously loaded all full of cans, making surrounded to stay there and keep my eye out of my surroundings. If I bring all this back, everyone will be able to eat until our stomach bounty. What the best is wait for? No, look at their faces. Come back, not to worry, we have a keynote for them. But seriously, what a fight cart doing all the way up in the mountains in the first place. The moment after I realized, fashion through my jet, I realized, oh, this is a tree. Anyway, I just take these back to camp now. Let's all gorge ourselves until we can't eat another bite. I try to focus on that thought, but once the first realization hit, I can never manage to fall back into the illusion. Mostly I will wake up with a start at this point. This is my eyes off my stomach get glorified, and the rage physically paid off. It screams in my face into visible grimace. Even if it was a dream, I wish I did at least take a bite when I read on the story at this point. There will be left. You are such an idiot, Amane. I do hide that half of the food. I do give everyone a can, then hide the rest. I hid the whole stash and eat it in secret. The majority opened the lemon did something along this line. They added with clear whisper that I was probably the only one stupid enough to come skipping right back without a second thought. It was now the 12th day. 12 days we spent living worse than stray dogs. Even among those who had been comparatively healthy, unmistakably symptoms of weakening were beginning to appear. The soft footsteps of death creeping steadily up behind us were growing impossible to ignore. Our nerves were raw from tension, our spirits timid and fearful. The first to be caught by our shadowy pursuer was Komori-san's pet Akun, the Shizua Aileon. It was a durable breed by nature from what we had. Simply was a soup for a dog with a big stomach. And so having fallen into a high fever during the day of Wednesday, Ariff simply never opened his eye again. He died quietly earlier this morning. Oh, he died already! Nearly in front of the lifeless body, flat on his side with lips stiff and extended, Komori removed the collar of Ariff's neck wrapping around her thin wrist. That dog had been like a brother to Komori, but she didn't break into loud wails over his corpse. Her strangled sob forced their way out of behind clenched teeth. Things all more piteous. Boy, nobody could find anything to say to her after the time someone must at least give the animal a proper burial. Cousin gave me a place and no objection. No, we should eat that dog.
あら、食べないの？
He knew how we regularly think about it, but deeply ingrained social norms had kept us by mind that even outside, he had Kazuki and blood almost casually.
食べるって犬を？
Well said, Kazuki.
そう、この子に助けてもらうのよ。
And Kazuki gave a cold words, every one of us sharply drew breath. Yes, there was nothing in the world we wanted to do more than at this moment. The dog in front of us was nothing but a corpse. Now that it was dead, it was no longer a dog, it was meat! Yes, I told you, let's eat the dog. Would it be okay to eat a dog that died from sickness? It was Kazuki's suggestion to so it was safe, but surely we could start talking about this right now in front of the grieving Komori-san, and this whole idea just felt so wrong. We all hesitated in the silent group. To be honest, we wanted to eat it, but something inside us was still offering considerable resistance to the idea. Nobody could make out their own mind. All eyes settled on our arch-remaining former authority figure, Captain Sakashita. No, she's no longer a captain, she is a bitch.
そうね。彼女の意見が正しいわ。食べましょう。
Let's eat. For the expression on the captain's face, those undeniable callous words must taste bitter in her mouth. Komori shook her head and then slowly turned on the side, looking into our faces one by one. And once averted their eyes for Komori's tearful gaze, everyone except Kazuki who made further and gave her a small nod. Steady down on those plaintive eyes, Kazuki murmured, "This is Alon's final duty." Komori-san's face cracked her as she slowly crossed his eye and answered.
わかりました。
Inhuman. The word was written clearly on Komori-san's face for any who cared to look. Even so, most of us let out small involuntary sigh at the surrender.
だったら虫が湧く前に肉にした方がいいわね。
But that relief was short-lived. Kazuki was once again left all of us frozen like stones. Right, if we were going to eat, of course we had to butcher it first. There was no choice, we had to pluck the hair from the dog's body and carry it using a knife. But of course nobody wanted that job. Again we looked at the captain. Biting her low lips, the captain looked in turn to Kazuki. And finally Kazuki closed her right eyes and tilted her head lightly to the left.
皆さん、じゃんけんってご存知？
Ho ho! As it is not as an impulse, she gave a chance to proceed to cause fell on Koide's senpai. She tried to resist, protesting. I never butchered the dog before, but of course none of us had made a habit of carving a puppy either, so the argument didn't really hold together. As the kitchen knife trapped against Koide's head. Koide's son is Ritsu. The captain tried offering her son after the encouraged line along the line. Your daughter's daughter Archie. To be honest, it was a little hard to grasp what they had to do with anything. Principally bracing herself, Koide gripped the knife from me in both hands and took a step forward, but in the moment her eyes met those of that dog below her, and she really burst into terrified tears. Naturally, the gallant hero Kazuki stepped in to save the day. Taking a good hand the punishment rod, she normally used to swing the pen of our morning wake-up call. She swung it down with all her might on the dog's head. And one Kazuki shot with Grisaia at many badly, swiftly stings. If I start shrieking pointlessly, maybe I'm next. The irrational fell where seizes us all and silently fell over the valley.
これでもうどこが目なのかわからないでしょ？頑張りなさい。
Meeting her eyes with the dog is scary. Is it that we just crushed his eye beyond recognition? It was absolutely elegant, a solution as blowing off your jaw with a shotgun to kill her today.
絶対に無理。こんなのひどすぎるよ。私にはできない。
私がやってもいいけど、あなた、私がいなかったらどうするの？もし生き残ったのがあなた一人だったら、誰も助けてはくれないのよ。
As she spoke, Kazuki tossed her wooden sword aside, then took the kitchen knife for Korea's hand and with the deceitful little snort. Everyone's got their hands full with their own problems right now. No one's going to protect you. If you are weak, you're simply going to die first. Kazuki might not say it point blank, but her meaning was all too clear. We studied the girl and our feet in silence. The strong eat and the weak. Men and beasts, insects and plants, all live and die by that rule. Many hisses about Kazuki's cruelty in low voice, but her powerful words and unhesitated actions left no room for open objection. Kazuki possessed not only the decisive but the necessity of the leader, but also the ability to inspire fear, characteristic of a ruler. Everyone could only hang their heads and obey.
あなた、随分と素敵な人ね。
でしょ？あなたの彼氏にもベッドで同じことを言われたわ。お肉の用意ができたら真っ先にお声をかけますから、今は引っ込んでいていただけます？
Captain Sakashi turned abruptly on his and stopped away without another word.
強引だな。部長泣いてたよ。
あのまま喧嘩になるよりはマシでしょ。うるさい女を黙らせるにはああいうしかなかったのよ。
部長の彼氏って誰なの？
さあ、でも何の反論もしてこないところを見ると心当たりのある存在がいるのか、もしくは彼氏がいないことをバカにされたと思って二の句を告げなくなったか、そのどちらかね。
もし部長が切れて飛びかかってきたらどうするつもりだったの？
あなたなら平気で犬の頭を潰すような女に襲いかかる？つまりはそういうことよ。
全部計算していたのね。
それは買いかぶりすぎよ。部長に襲いかかられる確率もゼロではなかったわ。まあその時は無様に殴られてみんなの同情を集めようと思っていたけれど、生き残るために犬の頭を潰す女と個人的な感情を暴走させて怪我人を殴る女、みんなはどっちの味方になるかしら。あなたどう思う？
怖い人だね、和樹。
そうね、自覚はあるわ。私みたいな女は男の子にはモテないでしょうね、絶対。
I barely want to scream. If you are well aware, how about doing something about it? But I could anticipate her answer, no doubt delivered in her nails on the chalk, girly voice. I'm sorry, I just can't. Still have a wiggly old me for such a fast thought. I had maggots crawling all down my spine at the mere thought. In any case, if there was a single man in the world who wants to go out with this world, I'd really like to meet him so I can get him the help he needs. There is one. Yuji. Yeah, I miss Yuji. It's a very long time already. He's talking barbecue sauce from the former soft and curly little body golden brown. The puff aroma of grease and spicy sauce went through the air. We swallowed a mouthful of warm through again and again. Just a few days ago, that hunk of meat has been an energetic, adorable little dog, flocking around Scormody's feet. There was definitely a widespread feeling of guilt, but the sound sizzling and the smell of dripping gifts were irresistibly alluring. Even those who had whispered his name because inhuman cruelty could overcome their stomachs. When the meats were finally grey and ready to be divided, they all swarmed out with a place in their outstretched hand. I was the one who carved the meat for distribution. The real relics proved to be the choicest and most glorious part of the body. Looping on the one of the kitchens, I blazed on Captain Sakashi plate. The second went to Kazuki. After that, I divided the meat as evenly as I could between the rest of it. I even carefully washed the internal organs and cooked them. But after this stood out, there was nothing left to do but greedily devour my share. It felt like such a very long time since I tasted meat. The first bite was so delicious that I went quite literally dizzy with bliss. My protein started tongue tingling as the animal fat slowly spread out inside my mouth, and my stomach squeezed tightly into itself as I consciously tried to wring every particle of sustenance from the food. Of course, it was an ornamental lapdog, a toy breed, and distributed among the entire crew. Its body provided us with a mere mouthful of meat. Even so, we all wept with joy at the nourishment, and as soon as the meat was gone, everyone began crunching away at the bones. Yet soon communists would firmly resist the idea of consuming her pet's flesh. But in the end, she's bit into her share of meat like all the rest of us, sniffing miserably entitled. Tears blended with mucus running from her nose. She ate. That one mouthful of meat kept us alive for today. I don't think we ever will forget that taste for the rest of our lives if we want. Next day. What are you going to eat now? A human meat? The 13th day in the valley. It happened far too suddenly. Komori-san, who seems perfectly fine for just a moment before dropping limply to the dark. For a moment, everyone who turned their head at the sound was simply dumbfounded. Is Komori-san there?
小森
Couldn't say if I got out of her partners. Komori gave a no response. Her body had begun twitching convulsively on the ground. Komori had fainted from the lightheadedness or illness. She was scratching her body more eagerly as she was possessed by some believable spirit. It was all at once bizarre and terrifying to watch. Kaneda suspected an epileptic seizure forcibly pinned down her partner's body from the right in an attempt to keep her from hurting herself.
誰か来て小森が
Let's say she became insane because she ate her dog's breath. Koide senpai and I jumped onto answer Kaneda's call as the others looked in shock silence. What happened? We managed to move Komori's son onto the blankets, but the seizure continued as Koide's anxious command I ran off to find my own partner. What happened?
どう原因は何なの？
倒れた時の様子はどうだったの？
わかんないよ。気がついたら地面に倒れてて、魚みたいにピクンピクンって暴れ出して。転換じゃないの？小学生の頃こんな風に倒れた子見たことあるよ。
転換の発作にしては長すぎるわね。
Komori's breathing was rapid, her teeth chattered in her mouth, and her unfocused eyes swung randomly from left and right. Her hands and feet trembled strongly on a regular rhythm as it matches the beating of her heart. Oh, don't tell me the active person going to die first instead of the injured one.
犬を食べたから寄生虫に寄生されたんじゃ。
犬はよく焼いてから食べたでしょ？考えにくいわね。小森さん、何か他に変わったものを食べたりしてなかった？
After a moment of thought, Kaneda's mouth fell open with a little ah.
そういえばなんか花の芽を食べてた。
Flower bud.
花？何の花？
名前はわからないけど綺麗なピンク色の初めて見る花だった。これ食べられますかねって言ってその場で何個かつまんで食べてた。なんだろう、鳥かぶと？
鳥かぶとの花は紫色だからジギタリスかもしれない。
Quickly, hand on Komori's trembling forehead. With fever.
熱があるわ。水分をたっぷりと取らせて体を温かくしていっぱい汗をかかせるしかないわね。
それで治るの？
悪いけど他には何もできないのよ。何にせよこれに懲りたらよくわからないものをつまみ食いするのはやめなさい。
Under this starvation condition, it was inevitable that our immune system would grow weak. Recently, drinking water raw had become common practice, as no one wanted to waste time falling when they could be searching for water. And when they foraged in the forest, many will pop their unfamiliar plants into their mouth if they look vaguely edible. By now, this is so mild that a normal person probably would even notice them potentially life-threatening to us. That's how weak we have grown. As we slowly carried Komori's quivering body into her tent, we could only grind our teeth at our powerlessness.
風見、ちょっといいかな。
We just left Komori to the rest when Kazuma-senpai called out to us.
なんか息吹の様子がおかしいんだよ。
I have a very bad feeling about this. The moment we followed Kazuma into her tent, that presentiment was realized.
ねえ、今日は何日？私たちがここに来てから何日経ったのかな。
Someone has gone insane. Right now in a sleepy bag, Buki started steadily at a point on the tank and opened his mind slightly at nothing in particular as she spoke.
今日は何日？
今日は26日。ここに来て13日目よ。
そう。早く帰りたいな。
Anyway, she answered, Buki's eye never turned towards us. That tone of voice was very unfocused, almost like a sleepwalker conversing in a dream.
ちょっと出ようか。
As directed, we moved to leave the tent, but Ibuki's immediately piped up.
ねえ、どこ行くの？私も行く。すぐ戻ってくるよ。おとなしく寝てな。26日だよ。そう。早く帰りたいな。
Yeah, Ibuki, you will go to home. In your tent.
参ったよ。今朝からずっとあの調子なんだ。いつもならすぐに元に戻るのに、今日はもうずっとあんな感じだ。
どうすることもできません。 ここには薬もなければ自己回復力を上げるだけの需要もないんです。
このまま腐るに任せるしかないのか。見ていることしかできないのか。
申し訳ありません。
君が悪いんじゃないさ。無理を言っているのは私だ。すまなかったね。
いえ。
Sakura senpai Paula's attempt at a smile conveyed only resignation and defeat, made all the more pitiful by her swollen face. It wasn't a flush swell of a fever. Her face was drained of alcohol and her ghastly pale cheeks visible rough and dry. She was blinking constantly throughout our conversation. It may have been difficult to keep her eyes open behind those bloody cheeks.
佐久間さんも栄養失調が顔に出ています。気をつけてください。
Yeah, people are slowly dying.
そうだね。気をつけるよ。
Exactly how she was supposed to be careful about starving when there was no damn food. Sakura seemed mature in refraining from yelling the obvious retort in Kazuma's face, but quite possibly seemed simply no energy had energy. Just how long would this situation last? Mentally, physically, in every possible way, we were being taxed beyond our capacity to endure. How long could we possibly hold it together under such circumstances? Even Kazuki, our acknowledged authority on mental toughness, could no longer fully hide her fatigue. Her youthful frame face burdened with the accumulation exhaustion seems to have aged somehow. Gently closed her eyes, Kazuki breathed a brief sigh, then proceeded to depress me still further.
実はここだけの話、桜井先輩と広岡さんも相当にまずいのよね。
Sakura had initially been recovering fairly, but our unsanitary environment and inability to adequately disinfect her proved catastrophic. She was beginning to exhibit symptoms of sepsis, almost certainly caused by bacteria embedded throughout her wound. She was now running a high fever with a constantly elevated heartbeat. She tripped over her tongue when she tried to speak, and her lips were roasting red by painful pulses, as if her body was trying to contract. She needed antibiotic, and soon. I have read this. Okay, in the last episode, I have read this. Hiroka-san was no better. In fact, she was worse. Her debilitation has progressed to the point that she no longer showed any response to our voices. This all came down to inadequate treatments compounded by worsening malnutrition. The dog had been our only halfway decent meal in days. Otherwise, we were getting on by a cooked snail, wild grasses, and now growl. Really nothing more than faint colored water in a few grains of oil, right? Floating at the bottom, even my angels couldn't heal on such a diet. On the first day of trace, we ate fluffy whites. Steaming from the cooker, I couldn't get them out of my mind. Back then, we gobbled the dice down without a second thought. Even had never complained about our coarse side dishes. Just remembering made me all want to scare the pampered luxury of olive oil. We were so starved for sugar that tea made from the skins of oils almost tastes sweet to our sour tongue. But then again, our initial yearning for sweets only lasts for the first carefree week or so. At some point, we began to crave salt for far more than sugar. By now, we'd be reduced to licking the rush that formed on the red flame of our butts after the days of rain. I had reached my absolute limit. When I crawled into the bed and I hesitated to close my eyes, afraid I didn't ever open them again. But then again, maybe it would be better that way. If I let my eyes fall shut, I would sink deeply into blissful oblivion. If my heart would then quietly stop beating, would it be a blessing? I couldn't help but feeling that a death without suffering would be happier fate than to struggle on like this. Whenever I expressed these weak thoughts out loud, Kazuki would scold me.
まだ諦めるのは早いわ。
Kazuki whispered those words forcefully as if trying to convince herself they were true. It seems too cruel to fight back then. How long do we have to endure? How long before we can finally give up? Come on, just get out of the forest there already. Why you guys are so stupid? I could find over the words, then silence settled on the tent. The 14 days. The 14 days, my friend. When the morning Kazuki started walking on the path, the morning wake up, and there was no sign of activity from within the activity. It wasn't that others were awake. They simply couldn't get up. They simply just standing outright as often. It was rare for someone to spend the majority of the day lying in their sleeping bags. Even when we attempt to move, it will often prove impossible. Every time we try to stand, our jaws would scream in pain. If we outside outright by plunging into us, our knees would be shaking so hard that we could barely walk. Even so, as the sun rose and warmed the valley, those who could steam or crawling slowly out of the tent, basking in the rays of morning light, will resemble nothing so much as the latter effects of iguanas escape from the Galapagos Islands. For some reason, it has thought the mere touch of the sun of our skins gave us some small boost of energy. Of course, it was mostly an illusion. Our stomachs would stay empty. But anyway, moving on endlessly would be waste of calories, and so we all sit in the sun and get still. It was tempting to just flop down on the spot and close our eyes, but the cold stone beneath us slow body heat quickly. And so lying down would burn the surprising amount of energy. Staying away and staying quietly was the best way to conserve our strength. We sat on the high ground as they rolled on the spot, unable to do anything but silently agonizing over our individual fate. I've got to do something. How can I survive this? The thoughts crunched endlessly around our heads, but merely focused our nourishment start brain on the question took all our effort. Actually, producing an answer was beyond our power. And there's no more doubt beside combination. And even though we are still human beings, we still have broken the absolute minimum rules.
まだ地獄ではない。まだ生き残る価値のある世界だわ。
And I sarcastically remember those words to herself slowly and deliberately as it confirmed that she was still firm and consciously able to
で
speak.
もどうかしらね。もう時間の問題かもしれない。
I followed a gaze around there and everyone was staring googly-eyed into the distance. Their pale flat face shined breezily in the morning sun. There was something dangerous in the air, giving a small push in the wrong direction. It felt like even though our humanity would instantly crumble underneath us.
Yuji.
Oh, she finally said Yuji's name.
今なんて？弟の名前よ。風見ユージ？そう。それが私の弟の名前。会ってみたいな。生きて帰ることができたら紹介してあげるわ。きっと気に入るはずよ。楽しみだな。きっとだよ。
Of course, that's definitely going to happen.
約束するわ。
The afternoon, Mr. Ochi returned for his escape attempt to rejoin us on our gradual passage slide towards that. What? He was completely emaciated. His sunken eyes were as dark as always the doors of the white animal were more than 11 his fellows. The group was overjoyed as he returned. I see, he failed. We were back to the drawing board yet again. There was a heavy, somewhat abstract disappointment. Let's kill him, guys. He failed us. Let's kill him. Even so, the return of our own matter was no small relief. Not to say that our teachers tried to cause any dramatic changes in the situation. As always, we were desperately short for food. If anything, practically speaking, Mr. Ochi's return translated to nothing more than another mouth to feed, mostly our already mere daily rations. That evening, having entered the large tent to check on the woods, I noticed that Hirokasa had quietly stopped breathing. Hirokasa is dead! 2 weeks after Shikana's old our garbage dead, we had our fourth casualty. Hiroka had died lying in the sleeping bag, which she spent the last 14 days of her life, her eyes and mouth open. It was a gruesome sight, but there were any real agitation among us. We all be prepared for this, even expecting it. I was so excited, ready like grieving on the death of my friend. I gazed upon the corpse in stupor. Sorry for the interruption. A single thought was swirling endlessly through my dull mind. When the living things die, it becomes food. Yes, let's eat their meat, their organ. Nazuki said that was only natural. So, does that go for her too? I wasn't the only one suspecting that as much. Without doubt, the others were thinking the exact same thing. At some point, all eyes had turned towards our teacher. But Mr. Ochi says, only I would dig the grave, quietly wringing his hand together in front of Hiroka's corpse. Well, I may take it, of course we were betting a human being in another human being. It's unforgivable no matter what. It must have been going a little soft in the head. Right, our friend had died, and we were upset. We lost our heads for the shot, that was all. Our shoulders shagged to learn our stomachs would go unfilled, but all the same time we have sighs of relief. Without a single word, gesture, we silently watched Mr. Ochi walking down into the forest to bury Hiroka's remains. I'm vile disgusting excuse for a human being. The shame was absolutely and so heavily inside me that I couldn't contain my tears. Lowering my voice exactly down onto her heart, I broke into wretched violent sob. Day 15 day. Wow, it's been so fast. I was awake, but I couldn't even open my eyes. My head fell. The stupid song here, back. My head fell back to the bursting with dark, heavy leaves. Every inch of my body was painfully cold and exhausted. To the point that even breathing was difficult. There was a drop of salvia in my mouth, and the back of my throat burned bitterly. I couldn't even speak. This one cutscene seemed to be a spineless shape. When I finally managed to force my eyelid just up a silver, I could barely see her lying perfectly lit on the other side of her, curled out like a cat. I'd always admired her strength, wondered how she trained that tiny body to be so unbelievably tenacious. But it says that even her amazing endurance was reaching its limit. No, she probably long since past those limits. But it's Kazuki were to collapse, we lost a larger source of hope. Without her, some of us might have long to give us. Stop even trying to survive. Kazuki had forcibly been pushing herself unreasonably for our sake, forcing herself to be energetic and powerful. She looked so very small right now. I was scratching out her name. There was no response.
ねえ和樹死んじゃったの
My arms had grown painful with pain, but it still felt heavy as I reached out towards my friend's back. She was still warm and could feel her back rising and falling ever so slightly. She was still alive.
和樹全然嫌だよ和樹
My tear-filled voice finally elicited a response from Kazuki. Her tongue understandably ever said sharply and grouchy.
もし私が死んだらあなたが私を食べてね。
なんてこと言うんだよ
Kazuki was abruptly brought back to the memories of Hiroka-san's death, and my breath got in my throat.
死んだら嫌だよ和樹死ぬなら一緒に死んでよ私を置いて先に死んだら嫌だよ私を見捨てないで
Survival alone in this hell would be meaningless. Kazuki responded to my heart-fast weeping with a snuffly little laugh.
冗談よ。大丈夫。私はまだ死なないわ。
She wasn't going to die just yet, but eventually that time will come. If everything living dies, another rule of nature, the most fundamental of all, that inevitable end was no longer an abstract, distant concept for us. Our debilitation had reached the final stages. One by one, we were wasting away. Wait, what? Today, Sakurai-senpai and Komori-san were the casualties. Oh yeah, no wonder I don't saw Komine-chan anymore. Komori, not Komine. Komori. Sakurai died from her sepsis. Komori killed herself. We found her hanging from a tree. Now as we grow to horror, the suicide sent a disturbing ripple through the camp. But after the initial shock passes, we felt a little more than resigned acceptance. Since eating her dog's flesh, Komori had clearly been mentally unstable and physically frail. Even before her sudden collapse yesterday, we all seen her acting strangely. She would totter off alone into the forest, then wander around calling loudly for Alione. And back at the camp, she pushed her useless battery that circle against her ear and voice in conversation with her backpack. Everyone had felt very apprehensive about her bizarre behavior, but there was nothing we could do for her. In the labor breathing of a girl sitting nearby, who grew faintly as we breathed her, the thoughts of, another one's dying, would pass on to our minds. We didn't feel sorrow or pity. There were bloodshed we could no longer afford. When Mr. Ochi carried each new corpse into the forest to bury it, the only we could muster the thought was one less mouth to feed. Cold-hearted, cruel thoughts, but we no longer had even the strength to hate ourselves for them. The terror of watching your friends die one after another. The terror that you might be next. The escalating terrors of reality overwhelmed us, and some began to escape from its tiger. Struck on the adrenaline, our brains get secreted to numb the agonizing fear. Our thoughts bludgeoned in bizarre irrational directions. I don't want to die. If somebody dies in my place, maybe I will survive. With any logic evidence, many had begun to believe something of the sort. That inside this raven, one life could somehow be traded for another. If somebody else died, I would live. This claustrophobic little world where nothing enters or leaves. The total amount of well-being must be faced. Depraving another of their happiness is the only path to survival. That was the new dogma of the dying.
あんた早く死になよ
Who are you?
君こそ遠慮しないでさっさと死になよ
What? That is the only one we had energy to do more than the sea living on the cruise ship with Mr. Ochi and the captain. Since Mr. Ochi returned the previous afternoon, the two of them had numerous trips to forage for food, and behalf of those who could no longer move. They even cooked meal meals of fish snails that they feed them to the weakening girls. They spoke of encouragement, so as a spoonful of her, don't give up, you can't die. If those two had been here, none of us would have made it past morning. The thought drove her home just how useless I was in comparison, and tears welled up in my eyes. Several times since Mr. Ochi returned, the two even managed to catch a few animals deep in the forest. Little child revenged themselves while began to appear in the sandy way. The girls who ate it slowly began to get some of their fatality.
和樹お肉だよほら久しぶり
私はいいわ。誰か他の子にあげて。
どうし
部活に肉を食べると肝炎になるわよ。
ちゃんと火を通してるから大丈夫だよ
I don't trust them.
私はまだ死にたくないし、 生き残った後、苦しむのもごめんだわ。
By now, Captain Sakashi and Mr. Ochi were getting the majority of the group's food, and Kazuki, who suddenly did the was so incensed he had difficult standing, had quietly and utterly lost the status he had gained among us since the fall. Everyone worshipped the captain like a god for providing food. And despite all that Kazuki had done for some dinner, no one expressed worry about her condition. Far from it, they looked at the grave clearly, ready, hurry up and die. Maybe she was resistant to the idea of accepting as ascendant captain's charity. Whatever the case, Kazuki absolutely refused to eat the meat her rival brought back from the forest. Idiotic pride for someone at death's door. As irritated as I was, I couldn't betray or disobey Kazuki. I believed gave her our share of it to those who were even worse off. That night, I would come to understand that I had made the correct choice in doing so. A little before I woke up to the rusty sound of someone opening around in the tent. A sluggish force opened my eyes and I strained to see what was going on.
Amane, 起きなさい。
Let's run.
カズキ。
They become insane already. Kazuki rolled out her sleepy backpack, all belonging in a rucksack she normally used as a veil. On one hand, clutching my shoulder, she slowly shook me awake.
何？どうしたの？
Still, however, I spoke more loudly than I had intended. Kazuki quickly drew her forefinger to her mouth and whispered a bit, "Shh."
あれを見なさい。
Kazuki lifted the flap of the tent slightly open. I prepared to see the captains and Mr. Oshi walking on together into the dark forest.
何？部長と先生、どこへ行くの？
They are going to make the run, all having sex.
知る必要はないわ。チャンスは今よ。ここを抜け出しましょう。
抜け出すってどういう？
Get out of this place, you stupid! Why you keep asking a stupid question? Not just keep asking a stupid question. You also make a stupid face.
そのままの意味よ。この山を出て家に帰るの。もう助けなんか来ない。自力で脱出するのよ。
I didn't understand what she was talking about. The words were clear enough, but the meaning just wouldn't register.
どうして今このタイミングで？
説明している時間がないのよ。できるだけ急いで支度を済ませて、誰にも気づかれないように。
他のみんなは？
Fuck you, Amane! Don't care about everyone! What the fuck? We just have to survive this ourselves. Kazuki feels a deadly serious gaze into my eyes and I faltered to a halt.
いい？アマネ。鬼は連れて行けない。わかる？
わからないよ、カズキ。鬼ってどういう意味？
知りたいのなら後で教えてあげる。いいから今は急ぎなさい。
Fuck you, Amane. You are really fucking idiot right now. Oh my god.
わかった。
To be honest, I didn't have the first idea about what's going on, but Kazuki was never wrong. If I told me to leave, I would leave. That's simply fate. I found my position as quickly as I could in the daytime. Maybe waiting for me to finish, Kazuki patiently grabbed my hand, pulled me along quickly, quietly out of the camp.
カズキ、どこへ行くの？
What the fuck question is that?
静かについていらっしゃい。今全部見せてあげる。
見せ？
いい。決して大きな声を出してはダメよ。わかった？
You are stupid, Amane.
うん。
Because of you, Kazuki is dead. Okay, I give a spoiler already. This is what she planning to show me. This is our video. After this, follow Kazuki down the way into the forest. We were retracing the steps of Mr. Ochi and Captain Sakashita. For some reason, that realization filled me with dread. Some instinct was whispering faintly, don't go any further. Don't take another step. Some truths are best left unseen. My skin tingled as I thought with the four pores in my body had constantly opened wide. With every step, my heartbeat grew louder in my ear. Cold, sticky sweat, unpleasant in my armpits.
見てごらんなさい。
Whispered so softly I could barely hear over the Kazuki as Kazuki pointed through the thickest of the clearing behind. Captain Sakashita and Mr. Ochi was inside. What the frick? Oh, they're eating the corpse! Oh my god! They're eating a corpse or they're making sex? Oh, they are making sex! I forgot! They're making sex before they die. Is it? They're making sex or they're eating the corpse? Illuminated by the faint moonlight that slid through the sky of the street, the cat's white skin shone vividly in the darkness. Her skin and jacket were lying in a messy heap on the ground. She was right next to me, so something near tiptoe bring her face to his.
あの二人、こんな関係だったんだ。
あなた、何を見ているの？
Sarah, you are fucking stupid, Amane. Oh my god. Fucking stupid.
周りをもっとよく見てごらんなさい。
Surrounding? I remove my glass, carefully weight the lenses with the cut off my cloth and put them back on. What are you doing? This time I noticed a number of strange whitish lumps lying in the glass amidst their scratches cloth. At first glance, they almost looked like oversized reddish covered in green and dirt. But as my eyes adjusted to the faint lights, I realized that the black marks were actually deep red, and the white objects were fragments of the truth better left unseen. What? Why is that? I didn't see that clearly just now. I could contain my shriek, and if I had the time to regret my mistake, tears were falling down my head. Red, I was saying my god, and I stumbled back, falling into the ground. Fuck you, Amane! Fuck you! You are the... My shoulders quivered at the victorious fear, but I simply couldn't stand. My legs had turned to rock. My eyes were fixed on the scene before me. The face of Miss Ojime in our direction, with eyes lit like the demons, and the curse of something I lay stand an audible shadow there. When I looked down, seeking escape from the awful sight, I noticed a silver brace in the grass nearby. It was shining in the moonlight, so even by my poor vision, it was hard to make out the narrator on his blade. Early on it, that was Akun's collar. When the dogs wasted away and died, Komori's had called it around her wrist. You ate Komori-chan! Which I meant... Fuck you, Amane! A burning touch of gas to search my throat as I noticed the boy. Kazuki grabbed me and shoulders with a flap. We are going to run now! Before I lay into the mighty. Disoriented, the taste of acid came my head. Kazuki pulled me to the right from behind and captured snarling voice.
見られたの？
The voice that already encouraged me during the practice felt the kind to pass out there. The voice that had offered already sure and she distributed fools don't give up. Captain Sakashita's voice was now.
捕まえて！逃がしちゃダメ！殺して！
Yeah, they become insane already. The voice of a ghoul. This had to be a dream. Why wasn't I wake up? This absolutely could be real. As these thoughts swirled through my days of mind, Kazuki hisses my hands as if to slap me awake.
だから声を出すなと言ったのに失敗したわ。これでもうタガが外れた。殺し合いが始まるわよ。殺し合い。
Why are you so stupid? Can't you see?
あの人たちをもう人間だと思わない方がいいわ。嘘だよ。こんなのこれは夢でしょ。
Amane, fuck you.
現実逃避もいいけれど後にしてくれるかしら。グズグズして面倒になるようならここで捨てていくわよ。
Yeah, Amane, you should deserve to die here. I clutched at the terrified behind the girl behind the mother. There was nothing to do but run. If I were to come to the pool of madness and fall into the ground, my leg would end. For now I could only just touch the hand and light into the dark. On the forest, the light of the stars could have
止
been
まって。
Suddenly, Kazuki raised her hand and barked as a command, and I came to her something moved slightly in the corner of my eyes. A black shadow slowly emerged as if oozing out of the darkness.
やあ、こんな時間にどこへ行くんだい？
What?
佐久間先輩、ここにいちゃダメです。坂下部長の先生が。
Halfway through my sense, I noticed something odd about Sakuma's glaring gaze. Her eyes were focused on the root sand we were carrying, and the swollen face betrayed our surprise but suspicion.
あまね、逃げるのよ。その人はもうダメ。
You are stupid, Amane. I told you many times. Sakuma figured around the Kazuki's words.
そうか。見てしまったのか。二人とも。
佐久間先輩。
どうする？今戻れば私が坂下にうまく説明してあげるけど。
あまね。
Amane, fuck you, Amane, fuck you. And the episode here.
セーブするわ。
The shit is happening right now. Okay, I'm going to play more after this. Let's go.